Good morning, Chinna.
Good morning, sir.
All right. So, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, just let me start the recording and we'll begin, right?
Okay.
So, are you ready for the mock? We can begin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So, Chinna, can you describe Bagalkot, your district in Karnataka, and tell us three interesting things about it?
Yes, sir. Sir, I belong to Jamkhandi Taluk in Bagalkot district. Bagalkot, the interesting thing about Bagalkot district is it has a UNESCO World Heritage Site of Pattadakallu. It was earlier ruled by Chalukyan dynasty, so there it is famous for Badami caves and Aihole. Rivers flows through Bagalkot. They are Krishna, Ghataprabha, and Malaprabha.
All right. So, like I can see you have a very good CGPA during your college days, right? A CGPA of over 9. So,
Yes, sir.
you didn't sit for the placements.
No, sir, I did not opt for the placements.
Like, why?
Sir, by the beginning of fourth year, I had decided that I will go for civil services. Hence, I did not sit for the placements.
Okay. So like what intrigues you to join forest services?
Sir, after deciding in the engineering, when I started for the preparation of civil services, I did not know much about the Indian Forest Service. But over the course of preparation, I got to know more about what IFS officer can play a role in the conservation efforts going on at national level and international level. And I could also reconnect it to my experiences of volunteering for National Service Scheme and also my hobby of trekking in the Western Ghats. So I feel in Indian Forest Service, being All India service, would provide me a good opportunity and also work-life balance. Hence, I want to join Indian Forest Service.
Okay. So Chinna, like you are also interested in like budget travel. So like where
Yes.
all places have been you have been.
Sir, I have traveled in most parts of Karnataka. In the southern part of Karnataka, be it Mysore, Udupi, Mangalore, Chikmagalur. I've also been to Chennai, Mahabalipuram, and Yellora in Maharashtra. So
Okay.
these are few places I have traveled, sir.
So like what was the budget for travel to Elora? You travel alone or you like how do you plan this budget and how do you cut on the expenses?
Sir, for Ellora, I traveled with my family, sir. In To Udupi and Mangalore, I traveled with my friends. So the budget was depending upon the number of days. So we used to go for around 2 to 3 days. So it comes to be around 4 to 5 thousand. So to cut the budget, we used to take public transport and we used to have a local food only. So a lot extensive planning was done before beginning the travel, so that wherever possible, I can reduce the expenses.
So, like, what are the challenges women face in budget travel? Like, can you foresee few of the challenges?
Yes, sir. To cut on the budget, first thing we have to travel by the public transport, and sometimes the accommodation are not very good in the small budget. So there are issues of safety as well, and so these are some of the issues. Other than that, there is no much difference.
All right. So, like, you have also volunteered for NGOs. So, like,
Yes, sir.
can you briefly tell us about what was the work you did, what was your role, and what are your
Yes.
learnings?
Yes, sir. So I volunteered for an NGO called Youth for Seva, which is based in Bangalore. It was during my college days. So I was involved in conducting the health camps, and I also went to give awareness talks in the government schools. So we were also involved in the plantation drives and other environmental awareness programs, sir.
Okay. So, like, all right. So, like, tell me how do these NGOs get their fund, right? What are the sources of fund for these NGOs?
Yes, sir. Some NGOs they get funds from the government. Some get funds from the CSR, from the corporates. Few NGOs are self-funded. Some large NGOs receive foreign funds also.
All right. So can you name at least three or four NGOs which are working in the domain of environment and forest conservation?
Yes, sir. In Bangalore, I know NGO called Hasirudala, which is working in plantation, and then there is an NGO named Say Trees, which is also based in Bangalore. It is involved in plantation, and at international level, there is Greenpeace, which is working in the environment domain.
Okay. So Chinna, can you tell us how this climate change is affecting Western Ghats?
Yes, sir. Due to climate change, the monsoons have become erratic. So it is leading to the landslides in the Western Ghats. Along with the landslides are also due to the anthropogenic causes, and due to the climate change, the habitat of the species is changing. So and few plants are also going extinct in the Western Ghats. Yes, sir. These are the things I can say.
Okay. So like, can you tell me the name of the few plants which have got extinct in the Western Ghats, just like you mentioned?
Sorry, sir. I am not able to recall the names.
Okay. Okay. So like you are also a geology graduate. So like you said that there is a issue of landslide in Western Ghats. So as a
Yes, sir.
geology student, can you analyze the difference in the region of landslides in Western Ghats and in the Himalayas?
Yes, sir. Uh, can I take few seconds, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, in Western Ghats and also in Himalayas, uh, landslides are mainly due to the both climate change and also due to the man-made causes. Western Ghats is more rugged terrain, so the sorry, sir, I'm not able to do it.
It's all right, right? So like, can you tell me the difference between the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, or tell me the difference between Western Ghats and Himalayas in terms of their origin from geology point of view?
Yes, sir. So Western Ghats are older than Himalayas, and Himalayas are they are the altitude of the peaks in Himalayas is higher. Western Ghats were formed when the subcontinent Indian subcontinent got separated from the Gondwana land. Yes, sir. These are the differences.
Like my question was differences in their origin, like how they originated. Like both are mountains. So what is the difference
Yes.
in the way they were formed? Is there any difference, or they're formed primarily from the almost same processes?
No, sir, there is a difference. Western Ghats are formed due to the submergence of the Arabian Basin and the eastward tilt of the Deccan Plateau, whereas Himalayas are formed due to the collision and the mountain building process of the uh, European plate and the Indian plate.
All right. So like, can you tell me the difference between mafic magma and felsic magma?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall.
All right. Like, have you heard the term Bowen reaction series?
Yes, sir.
Can you recall what it is?
Bowman reaction series tells about the order of the crystallization of rocks from the magma, depending upon the temperature and the pressure.
All right. So, like, can you recall the name of few of the minerals, like in the order in which they will crystallize, right from the higher temperature one to the lower temperature one?
Olivine. There are two different series, continuous series and discontinuous series, starting from the olivine, orthopyroxene, clinopyroxene, uh, muscovite, biotite, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it's all right, right? So you do look into it, right? Again. So
Yes,
okay,
sure, sir.
okay, my last question to you is, suppose you are watching a documentary on National Geographic, right? Okay, before that, can you tell me where one-horned rhinoceros are found in India? Which national park, which wildlife sanctuary?
Kaziranga National Park in Assam.
Okay. So suppose you are watching a wildlife documentary and you come across a video shot where you can see a one-horned rhinoceros. You can also see elephants, and you can also see lion, right? So can you guess which national park or like could it be?
Sir, I think it is in the Assam
Mm-hmm. Like why do you think it is in Assam?
because Assams have elephants
Mm-hmm. And
and tigers also,
no,
but
I said lion, right? Lion is the third animal.
lion. Sorry, sir. There is no such place in India, as far as I know.
All right. Yes. So it could be a place outside. It could be a national park outside India, right? It could be Africa, maybe. It could be a zoo, right? Something like that. All right. So,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
all right. So, like, that's all from my side. Over to Piyush, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, good morning, Chinna.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So you have mentioned budget traveling, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh, but you did not say budget tourism. So what is the difference between traveling, a person who travels, or a person who is a tourist?
Yes, sir. Uh, Traveler is basically a person who goes to place and tries to explore the place. But tourist, he already has definite destinations in mind, so he goes to that place, sees that place, and come back. So, and a uh, tourist doesn't stay long. He stays for the fixed period of time. But traveler, since he's exploring, he'll take his own time to know things about the culture, about the people, geography of the area. So these are the
Okay.
differences I can say. So
So a traveler makes an effort to know the people, right?
yes, sir.
Local people, local cuisine, local language.
Yes, sir.
So give me an example where you traveled, right? And you tried to make an effort to know the local cultures and local people. Describe me those scenarios where you made your own observations.
Yes, sir. Sir, in 2018, first time I traveled to the uh, Udupi district in Karnataka. So it is a coastal district which houses so many temples, beaches. It is famous for the Sri Krishna temple. So I tried a local food such as Patrode, it is called in Kannada, and I also stayed in the local dormitory there instead of the hotels.
Which tribe lives in Udupi district?
Which tribe? I'm not aware about it, sir.
All right. Any peculiarities that you noticed about local culture of
Yes,
local
sir. It is.
community?
Yes, sir. It is different from the mainland culture of Karnataka because the Western Ghats separates the coastal areas from the mainland. So they worship the deities they worship are different from the mainland deities. So they practice the Bhutakola. They worship the uh, gods in the forest, and they have Yakshagana and Nagaradhane. They basically worship snakes in the Mangalore and Udupi districts. So, but in my native place, where it is in North Karnataka, we have mainland festivals such as Deepavali, but their practice of celebrating Deepavali is different. Their way of doing puja is different.
Could you comment something on the economic sustenance of those people? How do they manage their economic affairs of daily lives?
Yes, sir. Sir, their life is ingrained with the Western Ghats and the coastal area. The people there follow fishing as a economic occupation, and the Udupi hotels are also very famous throughout the India and the worldwide. They also cultivate coconut and areca nut, and also pepper. So these are, and they are mainly a business community. So they have, and also the cooperative banks in the coastal area is very dominant. So Udupi and Mangalore are the birthplace of banks like Vijaya Bank and Corporation Bank. So these are the main activities of the people, sir.
Okay. You have also mentioned trekking as your hobby, right?
Yes, sir.
So, what are the essential things that one should carry before taking such a journey?
Yes, sir. First thing is proper clothing, because I have mainly trekked in the Western Ghats only. So there are so many leeches on the trail. So you have to wear full clothes. Second one is, before trekking, one should know the sources of water. And also carry a few water bottles if possible, and one should carry the basic first aid kit, because the terrain is rugged, so there are chances of
Name
blisters.
three medicines that you would carry for such trekking treks.
Some medicines, common medicines such as paracetamol, if in case of there is a fever or a body pain, and I carried salt water mainly, because as a home remedy, because you can remove the leeches from the salt water if they stick to your feet. And apart from that, if you have a body pain, one can carry move or something. Since the peaks are not very high, like unlike Himalayas, so other problems are not there, sir. So basic medicines are enough.
All right. You have also mentioned marathon, right?
Sir, actually, that was in the DAF one. I edited it in
All
the
right.
DAF two.
All right. We'll leave it. You
Yes.
mentioned that Krishna River goes through your district.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, where does Krishna originate from?
Krishna River originates in the Mahabaleshwar in Maharashtra.
All right. And how is the peninsular rivers different from Himalayan rivers?
Yes, sir. So most of the peninsular rivers originate in the Western Ghat, and they are east flowing because of the tilt of the Western Ghats towards the eastern direction, and they are not perennial. They are mainly monsoon dependent, whereas Himalayan rivers are perennial. The sedimentation rate is higher in the Himalayan rivers, and their length is also higher. Most of them drain in the Bay of Bengal, such as Ganges and Brahmaputra. These are the differences, sir.
All right. So you have graduated from electronics.
Yes, sir.
So what is the difference between electronics and electrical for a layman, if you can explain?
Yes, sir. Both electronics and electrical basically deal with the current, but electrical engineering is more about machines and motors and their principle of working. It is more of a large scale machines, whereas in electronics, it is more of a semiconductor devices and the chips we use in our electronics appliances. So these are the main
All right.
differences.
Okay. You have mentioned Rangoli art as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Could you name different in India by different names by which Rangoli is known in different parts of our country? Give me at least
Uh,
three names.
yes, sir. It is. Um, it is also known as mandala art in some parts. Uh,
Where?
I do
Which
not.
region?
It is. I do not know the region, sir. It is one of the type of the rangoli.
It's in
And
Rajasthan. Mandal.
okay, sir. Thank you. And in southern India, basically in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, people do rangoli with flower petals during the festivals. That is Onam. I do not know the name of it.
Kollam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other name?
That's all I can remember, sir.
All right. See, humans have a very long history with art, right? We find
Yes,
art
sir.
in Harappan culture, and today also we see people doing Rangoli arts and all. So it's a very long history.
Yes, sir.
Why is there a need for art? What is the functional necessity that it serves in the human society? Art, trace its history and like bring it to the present context.
Yes, sir. Sir, art enriches and completes humans' lives, sir. It was basically these traditional forms of art were a form of entertainment in the earlier periods, and art is a medium of expression of joy, happiness, and also sorrow. So it it is a refreshing, has a hobby also. It is it it enriches our culture. So this is a functional feature of the art.
Okay. Let me give you a hypothetical situation, right? You are in charge of a forest area, and there we find art of very historical significance, like of Harappan area, Harappan part. But we
Yes, sir.
see problem of forest degradation, deforestation, right? Personally,
Yes, sir.
what would you say? Should we go for the like research of this particular area and affect our ecology, or should we leave it and focus more on the ecology and preserve our ecology because we have already done so much damage to it?
Yes, sir. Sir, I should prefer the balance between the two because preservation is possible only when we have a proper knowledge about it. So, proper research has to be carried out because it might have some significance related to our history. So, knowing more about it would make us more serious about its need of the preservation. So, research has to be carried out if such art is found, and also research has to be carried about the people who are practicing that art so that it can be used to enhance their livelihood, and at the same time efforts has to be taken to preserve it in the
So, as
times
an
of
officer,
degradation.
so, so as an officer in charge, what are the various steps that you are going to take to maintain a balance between the two? Specific steps that you would undertake.
If the art is found in the forest area.
Right. If you were to allow the research and people were to go there and do their research, they would require some sort of housing, water supply, right?
Yes, sir.
They would have to be some path created when not necessarily road, but to conserve the balance between the wildlife and the need for the research. What are the specific steps to reduce wildlife conflict, man animal conflict?
I would make sure that only a required number of people are involved in the research so that many people won't disturb the area and the wildlife. Secondly, I would make sure those people won't pollute the streams and the rivers originating in that forest area. And uh, I would As an officer, I would keep my subordinates always with those researchers to help them also, and also make sure that they are not uh, harming the forest area in the name of the research.
All right. Very, we find in India there is a mistrust between local communities and the forest officials, right?
Yes, sir.
And forest service is not just about the forest and wildlife. It is also about this bridging the gap between the local communities and management of the local communities, right?
Yes, sir.
So how would you like bridge this mistrust that is there?
Yes, sir. Um, So first thing, I would have a periodical conversations with tribal people or any other fringe village communities. I would try to know their problem and the source of problem, and if it is in my hand, I would try to solve them. And I would also try to involve the people in the forest activities, be it afforestation in the nursery, and also as a forest watchers, and if there are any trekking possibilities, I would employ them as a trekking guides by providing the proper training. And with availability with already available laws, I would try to give them the proper required infrastructure facilities, be it schools or primary healthcare centers.
All
So
right.
in this way, I would try to have a better relationship with them, sir.
Okay. What are
We can
the
Piyush,
institutional and all right, all right, all right.
after this question we can move to
Okay.
Advait sir, right?
All right. Just tell me what are the regulatory mechanisms for NGOs that are available in a country?
Yes, sir. The NGOs in our country are regulated by the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, which was recently amended. If they are receiving in any foreign funding, they are regulated under this act, sir.
And if there is no foreign funding, then there is no mechanism for regulation.
There are laws, sir, but I'm not very aware about it.
All right, all right. That is it from my side.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Good morning, Chinna.
Good morning, sir.
So, like, you have been involved in lots of social activities, like from blood donation to volunteering for NGOs.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I would like to know, like, what has been your motivation when it comes to going to so many diverse areas, especially social areas?
Yes, sir. Sir, I was involved in these activities during my college days. So when I was in school, there were no platforms for all these. So during the engineering, I got exposure to the national service scheme and I joined it. I by joining the volunteering activities, first thing was I was using my free time in a more meaningful way, and I was also meeting a lot of new people, and it broadened my horizon of knowledge. So it gave me happiness also, and I also made a lot of new friends by volunteering. So my motivation was to be in connect with the people, the local people, and explore the place.
Okay. And you are also involved in trekking. So, trekking is another way through which you get to know new people, you connect with different people.
Yes, sir.
And you have been an avid traveler also. So, do you think that your need regarding connecting with the people when it comes from volunteering for social causes could have been addressed with trekking also?
Sorry, sir, I'm not able to
Uh,
grasp your question.
yeah, what I meant is that you mentioned that connecting with the people was one of your reasons when it comes to moving into social sector, social causes. And you are also an avid traveler, and traveling ensures that you meet new people, you connect
Yes,
with
sir.
people. Yeah, so like your need to connect with people is also fulfilled by traveling. Then, like for your foray into social sector, like what is the driving force then?
Yes, sir. the traveling part and also volunteering both started during the same time in the college, sir. So uh, the driving force, I would say, was I being in a college, and at that age, I wanted to involve myself in whatever way possible. I was teaching few hours a week in government school, so I was teaching them craft and art. So that was it was more of a happiness I derived from volunteering.
Okay. So, like you have been traveling. So, have you observed any recent change which in the Indian tourism industry that focuses on budget travelers for solo travelers?
Recent changes in general, I can say, is the the accommodation facilities are there are many accommodation facilities ranging from the uh, for to suit to all types of travelers, and the transportation to famous tourist places has also increased, so there are trains available. These are the recent changes in general, but I'm not very aware about any specific trends.
Okay. Can you elaborate more on the accommodation side?
Yes, sir. So I traveled mainly to the southern part of the Karnataka. So when I went to the trekking, I stayed in the local dormitories, and in that part there are so many temples. So say there are in temple complexes, the accommodation is very cheap, and it is also very safe for the women. So there are big halls and banquets. I stayed mainly there with my friends.
Okay. Like in Karnataka and especially like in Bangalore side, now lots of hostels are coming up. Like you have this culture in Europe,
Yes,
no?
sir.
So this
Yes, sir.
hostel culture is something which is new and which caters to solo travelers and budget travelers a lot.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then this app-based Airbnb, this is also something new where people can lease out their places. It's also happening a lot
Yes, sir.
in
Yes, sir.
certain areas. Yeah, so these are the recent changes. Now, what is agri-tourism? Have you heard of this term?
Yes, sir.
So please explain.
Sir, agri-tourism is a new type of tourism where you travel to a place which is known for the very different type of agriculture, or conservation type of agriculture. You know about the crops grown there, or the technology employed, and the irrigation, and what types of crops are grown. So this can be called as agri-tourism.
Okay, so what are challenges related to agri-tourism?
Challenges. Challenges I can say is in India it is not its potential has not been utilized up to the mark. Though India is a agricultural country, and challenges I would say is the connectivity to the rural area is not good, so the roads are not very good. So um, and agri-tourism as a avenue is not very much explored, so there are no any particular travel agencies or travel packages for agri-tourism.
Okay, so like in your districts, because you have been moving to Western Ghats also, and Western
Yes,
Ghats has good potential when it comes to agri-tourism as well.
yes,
So
sir.
how are you going to promote agri-tourism?
Yes, sir. So Western Ghats, the main crops grown are coconut and areca nut and pepper, and banana also. Uh, the people are growing the crops in the vicinity areas of the forest. So um, to promote it, I would um, sorry, sir.
Okay, wait, I'll help. So see, Western Ghats and Western India is relatively more developed if we compare with the rest of the country. Like there are lots of big cities are there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you connect with the cities, like how you can attract large section of people to agri-tourism sector.
Yes, sir. So since there are cities, and for example, in Mangalore, it has an international airport. So good accommodation is available, um, and comparatively, the roads are also good in Western Ghats when compared to my native place. So that can be one avenue to promote the agri-tourism.
Okay, see, like a very mobile urban population is there, and often like people they do have this tendency now they want to more connect with the nature, and like you have plantations in Western Ghats, you have coffee plantations and gardens
Yes,
over
sir.
there.
Yes, sir.
So, so you can provide staycations and such services over there where people can stay
Yes,
in
sir. Yes,
the coffee gardens. So that can be a good avenue.
yes, sir. And also tea in case of Kerala.
Yeah. So that's how you can proceed. Okay. Have you heard of agri-silvicultural practices?
Yes, sir.
Please explain.
Sir, in agri-silvicultural practices, both agriculture and forestry are taken up. The trees are grown along with the crops, and it also includes cattle also. It provides better income to the farmers rather than monocropping.
Okay. And can you give me some examples of agri-silvicultural practices in India?
Yes, sir. There is one system called Taungya system, where the forest crops, where the crops are grown along with the forest trees. And then another examples can be kitchen gardens or backyard gardens, and terrace gardens can also be agri-silvicultural practices. And wind breaks and shelter breaks. These are also silvicultural practices.
And any example from your region, your area, something you have seen?
Sir, in my area, in northern part of Karnataka, we have agroforestry. Uh, so forest department is providing saplings to the local farmers at concessional rates to promote agroforestry. So they are growing trees like mango and tamarind in their fields. And coming to the Western Ghats, there is a town gas system where forest department involves local people and allow them to grow crops. So I've seen that coffee is grown in between the trees, coffee and pepper.
Yeah. So this plantation system is also a part of agro-silvicultural practices.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you explain Tonga system?
Yes, sir. In Tonga system, as I've said, the agriculture crops are grown in between the trees in the forest. The forest department owns the land, and the labor is from the local villages. So it benefits both forest department in managing the play in better utilizing the forest area, and also it provides extra income to the farmers in agricultural off season.
Okay. And what is a normal forest?
Yes, sir. Normal forest is characterized by the normal increment, normal series of age gradation, and uh, there's one more component I'm not able to recall. It is a three. It is a trinity of components that makes it to call a normal forest.
Okay. So is a virgin forest a normal forest?
No, sir. Virgin forests are not normal forests. Usually, plantations which are controlled by humans and managed by us can be called as a normal forest, because in virgin forest there are different kinds of trees. They have different age classes, and the increment is not uniform. So they are not normal forests in general.
Okay. And what is an overstocked forest?
Overstocked forest is a one where the density of the trees is more than one. So it has very high canopy density, and the number of trees per area is very high.
So what does overstocked forest tell us about the composition of the forest?
Overstocked forest and composition.
Yeah, what does it tell us? Like if a forest or a section is overstocked, so what does it tell us about the tree composition or age gradation, like you mentioned earlier?
Yes, sir. So, in overstocked forest, the composition is not uniform. If I'm not wrong, there are different types of trees in a small area. The trees are of different height, from the shrubs to the herbs and creepers and tall trees. So this makes it very dense. And also the age class is not very normal. They are of different age.
See,
Okay, sir.
overstock forest,
After this
yeah,
class, after
this
this
is
class.
last one from mine.
Okay.
So see, the overstock forest is basically having a larger composition percentage of mature trees. So mature trees are dominant over there. So
Okay,
well,
sir.
that's all from my side.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So if Rishabh sir want to ask you question, he can ask before we end the mock. Okay. So I think there is some issue with the sir. So okay, I'll end the mock here by asking a last question. So Shina, suppose
Yes.
you are a DFO in an area, and you have a deputy, you have a ranger, right? He is a subordinate to you in the hierarchy, and you have come across from your subordinate that he is often engaging in domestic violence, right? And he's a very proficient and efficient officer vis-a-vis forest services. But in personal life, this is what he's been indulging in, right? So, what steps can you take, and what step will you personally take, right, in this scenario?
Yes, sir. Firstly, I would directly talk to him if there is any issue, and I would try to explain him that whatever he is doing as a domestic violence is not good. So it hampers his family life, and that would in turn affect his professional life. And I would. If he's not listening, I would talk to the local his people around his house, and try to help his wife uh, through mediation. And if any local NGO is involved, I can take their help in solving the in somehow helping the lady. If he's not listening, I would take legal actions. I would initiate legal actions against him, sir.
All right, Chinna. So it was very pleasant talking to you. Your mock interview is
Thank you,
over.
sir.
You can leave the call for few minutes, and then I'll text you, and you can join back for the feedback, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.